Thank you, Nikki. So welcome to this panel, everybody. So I will invite all the panelists on stage. So Myriam, you can sit here, Sönke, and then Hannu. So today we will be speaking about augmented live performances. We have a set of amazing panelists today. I will take the clicker and sit down with the panelists. Here. Thank you, Myriam. Tu peux le mettre par terre, merci. So we have Myriam ACHARD, who is manager of new media and partnerships and PR at Phi Center in Montreal. Sönke KIRCHHOF, who is the CEO of INVR.SPACE from Germany, and Hannu JÄRVENSIVU, virtual stage project manager of the Finnish National Opera and Ballet. So welcome to this panel to all of you. A few words about me. So I'm from Belgium here. I run a non-profit organization located in Namur, so 1 hour away from here. And we explore the crossovers between art, science, technology, and society through multiple events. We have a festival, we have a Creative Hub, an artistic production platform, and also a museum exploring all those topics. And we also manage WAKE, which is the creative technology ecosystem from Wallonia. So we gather all the freelancers and also companies which are active in creative technology, digital creativity in cultural and creative industry. And we do a lot more activities, but we're not here to speak about myself. We are here to speak about augmented live performances. So before diving into this subject, I would like to know a bit who is in the room so we can also adapt the discussion following who is following this discussion. So, yeah, I don't have the who. Yeah, I need my Snoop Dogg slide. So, can you raise your hand if you are part of this group? So, who are the producer and XR studios in the room? Okay, yeah, a few of them, like 6 or 7 people who are artists and creators in this field. Yeah, about a bit more, okay, about 8-10 people. Distributors and programmers, 1 person, okay. Cultural venues and institutions, okay, like 4 or 5 people. Tech providers in XR, 1 or 2, and then other profiles that I didn't mention. Okay, a few of them. Sorry, we don't have the time to ask you where you are from, but later in the discussion, if you have questions, think about your questions. And I will ask you to introduce yourself when we dive into the discussion part. So now that we have a good picture of the room, let's start with the panel. So the panel is divided in 2 parts. The first part will talk about creators, artists, and studios. So to look at it from the producer side, from the artistic side as well. And then in the second part, we will look at the subject from the point of view of the cultural venues and institutions, cultural institutions. So in this first part, we will dive into the technological evolutions and disruptions of the last few years in XR, concrete case studies and tech breakdowns, audience reception, onboarding, offboarding, production challenges, team composition, financial aspects, distribution, new formats, and how these technologies redefine the role and presence of the audience within those performances. So without further ado, we will start with our first speaker. So we will have 2 case studies of live augmented performances. So we will dive into those 2 projects. And then we will talk about the digital twin stage developed by the team of Hannu, who is working at the the Royal Opera and Ballet House in Finland. So Myriam ACHARD will start speaking. So Myriam ACHARD is the voice and face of PHI Center internationally. Since 2006, she's been scouting and presenting some of the most innovative and immersive works and in XR. More recently, PHI Studio has also been producing ambitious XR projects and mixed reality projects. Today, she will focus on Blur, the most recent projects they've been involved in. It's a mixed reality theater experience created with Riverbed Theater and Onassis Sculpture, where a small group of about 10 participants alternates between VR and mixed reality, guided by a live performers and 2 mediators. So Myriam, the floor is yours. Here is the clicker.
Merci, Marie. Hi, everybody. Thrilled to be here today. So before maybe just diving into Blur, I just want to give you a bit of context of who we are. So PHI is quite a large ecosystem. We have a foundation for contemporary art. We are based in Montreal, Old Montreal. We have the PHI Center that is dedicated to art and technology. We have a studio, as Marie said, that was launched in 2019, so we are also producers. We have residencies, and then we will be opening a new venue in Montreal in 2029, which will be called PHI Contemporary. So it's quite a large ecosystem. We will focus on Blur today. So Blur is really a passion project. It's who's seen Blur in the room? Oh, I'm so happy. Blur is really, it's a project co-directed by Phoebe Greenberg, our founder, and Craig Quintero, who is a theater director, American origin, but based in Taiwan. And this project came to life when Craig and Phoebe met in Venice 3 years ago, for the first time, and it was love at first sight, and we knew that at that time we would work together. It's a co-production between 3 countries, Canada, Taiwan, and Greece. It was launched in Taiwan earlier this year in March. We are currently presented in Tainan, also in Taiwan, and we had our European premiere in Venice this year in the international competition. I'm going to play a video. I'm going to talk over it because I think we don't have that much time. So if you want to turn down the sound while I'm talking.
Easy to get lost.
So Blur is really a project, and we don't want to say too much, so it's a bit hard for me because we want to keep a bit of a mystery. But we do have a paragraph that describes the project. So Blur is a mixed reality theater experience that explores this liminal state between life and death, fact and fiction. The production immerses 10 audience members in a surreal world where a performer interacts live with the digital environment of virtual reality. The audience journeys through an unfolding landscape, encountering firsthand the magical possibilities and terrifying consequences of these scientific advancements. The future is present. Step into the unknown. So Blur is really mixing different type of technology, and you'll see, this is Phoebe, our founder. I'm thrilled that she worked on that project. Blur is mixing different type of technology, and you'll see it in the next slide. So we have VR 360, we have Six Stuff, we have virtual worlds, and we also have an actress that is part of the experience. That's really important for this project because our 2 co-directors are coming from the theater world, so it was really important for them to have a performer as part of the experience. So you have 1 performer, 2 mediators, actresses that are hosting you in the world of Blur. Blur is an experience that lasts approximately 45 minutes. And it's specifically made for only a group of 10 people because it needs to be intimate. You cannot, and as much as I love, we had colleagues earlier that spoke about what Xcurio is doing or XROM for 150 people an hour. We wanted that experience to be very, very intimate, and it was really, really important to keep this intimacy. We were asked, because it's going to be touring, so we were asked, can you augment the throughput? And we were like, yes, we could, but we won't. As you can see, maybe I'll go next to the next slide.
Of our live act.
So you have, this is a little bit of a, give you a bit of visuals about the project. As I said earlier, we don't want to say too much. We don't want to give you too much details because we want you to come and discover it with fresh eyes. But it gives you a little bit of the artistic direction of the project. As I was saying earlier, as part of the experience, you have 360 VR film, and this was shot in Taiwan. This is the beauty of having different countries as part of the co-production. So each of the country was, we did many workshops, and the 360 VR film were shot in Taiwan. We have live performance, as I said, animation 6 DOF, 360 VR, also 3 DOF, virtual worlds, and this was done in Montreal. We collaborated with a studio in Montreal called Behavior, and they did really this artistic vision for the content. We have volumetric capture, that was also done in between Montreal and Taiwan. Motion capture, dance performance, for those people of you in the room who are knowledgeable about dance, the person you see on your left is Edouard Locke, a famous choreographer based in Montreal, and there's a scene in the piece that is, you see a dancer, not quite a dancer, but, and Edouard helped us to do this, the motion capture dance performance. Scenography is also part of the experience, really, really important. Remember, our 2 co-directors are coming from the theater world, so they wanted a scenography, they wanted a decor. It's really part of what they love to do and their world. Audience engagement, also very important. We want to give the audience agency. The audience is not passive, the audience is active, really, really important in that experience. This is the onboarding. I know we spoke about onboarding, but maybe we'll come to that later. Yeah. So the onboarding, when you get just before the beginning of the experience. Couple of scenes behind the scenes. That's the team in Taiwan. For those of you, you might know Craig Quintero from his previous work. He did a trilogy called All That Remains, Over the Rainbow, and 360 VR film. So he's really, I would say, like a master in that. So that was shot in Taiwan. We did many workshops in Montreal, in Athens, and in Taiwan. This is a workshop, I think, in Athens. Yeah, maybe I'll stop there because I format around the world, but we'll get back to that after. This was Blur.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you, Myriam. You respected the time beautifully, so thank you very much. Can you switch to the next slide, Sönke, please? Yeah, thank you. So now we will dive into the next case study. So with Sönke KIRCHHOF, who is the founder and CEO of INVR.SPACE, an XR full-service studio that has been involved in stereoscopic film, VFX, CGI, and XR for more than 20 years. He's produced many complex XR works, including projects that integrate live performance into virtual environments. So you have a preview of some of their projects, but if you go to their website and just scroll down, there are a lot more. It's crazy the number of projects you've been producing over the past 20 years, so I strongly advise you to take a look at it. We'll not have the time to dive into all the projects. We will dive into only one case study, as we did for Blur. The case study is called Symbiosis, Dysbiosis. It's not a project that's been done this year. They're presenting in the awards a new project today. So if you can tell us a few words very quickly about what is presented today as a premiere at United XR, and then dive into the case study. We have a video for the case study, so the floor is yours, Sönke.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the warm words. And there's a couple of projects we did in the past because we love to co-produce, we love to collaborate. So all these projects most of these projects are projects we did in collaboration with partners. So it's not our own work and sole work. Just to make sure that's communicated. We had the pleasure of winning an award yesterday for a premiere of a German-Swiss co-production called The True Film. Thanks. It's very short, just 40 minutes, lasting 6 degrees of freedom interactive experience about Siegfried Kracauer and Theodor Adorno and their wives exchanging letters, and the rest I'll not spoil, so you can watch it on your own. The other one premiered in Venice this year. It was the winner of the Biennale Cinema College. It's called Rilancia di Luigi Broglio, or relaunch of Luigi Broglio, who was an Italian entrepreneur, I would say, who wanted to enter the space race back in the days, and he did, but he didn't really succeed. You can watch it as well. And the project we're talking about today, we premiered last year in Venice. It's Symbiosis Dysbiosis. It is a live performance in terms of you have 4 actors and you have 4 people in VR, and you have a, let's say, a kind of a detective game or puzzle game in a strange forest where you have to interact with each other. So it's multiplayer, but you might not know the other 3 people that are with you in the experience, and you might not see the actors. Like in Venice, we had them on location, but in other scenarios, we had one actress in South Africa, the other one West Coast America, the other one in Canada. So this is kind of very flexible in these terms. So the one thing is there was 3 others and interacting with each other, but in the full setup, you will not only have a VR headset, but also an EEG. So it takes your brain waves, and these brain waves are going into a terrarium with a mycelium inside, so fungi, and then it's going out of the terrarium again into Unity. The more you use your brain, the more brainwaves you will produce, and so it will influence the whole experience in a way. So each time you do this experience, it's different because of the other people you are in there, but it's as well different because of your different brainwaves. And as the mycelium is growing, it is different each time as well. Like day by day, it's a different experience. I think we could watch the video. Yeah. Oh, I have to. Oh, yeah, right. I stole it. I'm not speaking, you can pump.
Thank you. So before going to our next speaker, I have a few questions, so we can go back to the last slide, just to have like a dark slide for now, for the discussion. Because as we just had 2 case studies, I've got a few questions about those projects from the side of the producers and creators of augmented live performances. I will start with you, Sönke, because it's we just saw the teaser of this project. So you were saying that there are 4 actors who are involved into the performance. That they can be on location for the performance, but that they can also be remotely working for the performance, which solves quite a lot of logistical issues in terms of touring those kind of performances, because when you tour a classical theater play, it's always quite costly because many people have to travel with the play, and then you have the scenography and so on. So how are those actors involved into the live part of the performance? And are they wearing mocap suits, or are they interacting from a computer? And what is the interaction with the 4 people who are living the experience? Can you tell us a bit more about that and the technology you used to do that?
Sure. So yeah, they wear mocap suits, and of course they need a computer and they need a proper internet connection. So of course it solves a lot in terms of logistics, but of course you still have to be very careful that that's all working. As said, like we had some shows where one was in South Africa, the other one in Australia, the other one in Canada or West Coast America. So they've been in very different time zones as well. So it solves things, but it can bring different complications as well, so at the same time. And yeah, they have a live view of what is happening in the experience. Perhaps you remember there was a snail going through the forest, which I think in Venice was done by Michael Mangrover. Some of you might know him. So it's not always actors, sometimes it's just people who have fun in there, but could act well enough for that. And they are kind of narrating you through the story, because the people entering this experience might not even be familiar with VR, but as well don't know what to do there, right? So it's this trippy forest, so people are normally just looking around, and they don't know where to go and what to do. So these characters help them to find the way through the forest in the end, yeah, and narrate. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So when you say narrate, are they also speaking to the audience? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so they're showing them where to go, but also speaking.
Exactly, and sometimes they give you a little bit of a hint, like look around, or here, there, perhaps you can climb this tree, or like these kind of little hints when people are like, you know, it could last forever if people are just standing in the forest and are amazed by the views. So we try to make it like 20 minutes to half an hour.
Okay, and how do you manage language? So do you find actors who are like speaking different languages following where you distribute the work? Or?
Yeah, we had like actors who could speak French, for example, for the French version, but 95% of what we've shown has been in English. So.
Okay.
But yeah, exactly, by changing the actors, of course, we could go into any language immediately. Yeah.
Thank you. Then I have a question for Myriam, because when we discussed preparing this panel, and I know other works you've been working on in the past, which were more classical VR or XR pieces, and this is the first one mixing theater and VR or XR. And you told me that 80% of the venues or cultural institutions where you're distributing this work are theaters. Do you see it as an opportunity to reach wider audiences? And what is the difference in terms of distribution in comparison to previous works you've been distributing? Yeah, can you tell us a bit more about that?
So we're starting the distribution right now of Blur. So for those of you who really want to see it, come to Montreal. It will be presented at FI in the coldest month of the year, so from mid-February till the end of March. You're welcome to come and let me know. We will be happy to host you. So this is the next step, coming to our own venue. After that, I cannot necessarily mention where we're going because we are still in discussion, but it's definitely more the theater world that is interested in that piece. We had people from different theaters flying to Venice to see it because we were in discussion and they say, well, we want to see it first. So theaters, what we feel is that the theaters that are coming to us, they are theaters that are either they are already showing that type of work that's a little bit, you know, like different, not traditional theaters, sometimes that already have technology in their programming, or opposite completely theaters that are trying to renew their audience. So those are the two type of theaters we are talking with. C'était quoi la question en plus?
It would be also interesting to know whether you see it as an opportunity compared to the, classical distribution of XR works. Is it like, for you, do you feel that it's an entirely new world of possibilities that is opening up with this world, with this project?
Definitely a new world. I mean, we distributed in the past the works, like some of you were here before, like we are distributing Ex-Curio's content, like it's a total different opportunity. But in going into theaters, it's also forcing us to relook at the way we are distributing, because theaters are expecting specific we cannot work the same way with theaters than we work with museums, for instance, or galleries. Definitely not. It's really exciting to go into that world, specifically when our two co-directors are coming from the theater world. To me, right now, what is really exciting in our field is this intersection between performing arts and technology. It's only the beginning, I think, but it can lead to incredible experiences.
Thank you, Myriam. Sönke, what about you in terms of distribution? Which channels are you using for distribution? Are you showing this experience mostly in like museum and cultural venues, or is it also in the theater world? Can you tell us more about distribution in your case?
Yeah, well, it's, I said, like we premiered last year in Venice, so right now it's more like still the festival world that we're talking to, but as well like cultural institutions like Goethe Institutes, for example. Because as you already mentioned, it's kind of hard to travel with like all the computers and equipment, and Tosca, like the director living in Toronto, Tosca Terran, aka Nanotopia. But then for actors on top, that's quite an amount of budget you need for that. So many theaters are quite hesitant of bringing that for a few days just to their city or to their location. Yeah. So right now it's more like Goethe institutes and French institutes and so on that we're speaking with, and they are more capable of that.
Thank you. And how is it to work with non-human actors? Because you have kind of a non-human actor in your symbiosis dysbiosis, because there is this mycelium, so this fungi, which is also interacting with the rest of the actors plus people experiencing the work. And I know from previous experiences, because I've been producing quite complicated exhibitions with plants and living, non-human living beings. How do you manage that aspect within this performance?
Well, it's each time a case study on its own, I would say. There is countries where you would not be able to bring that, or you would not be able to buy it. But normally, in most cases, it's like we are buying a new terrarium and we are finding a place to buy the new mycelium, and then it needs a couple of days to grow into a size that we can use it in a way. So it's a little bit of preparation needed and a little bit of investigation what's able or what's available in the country where you're showing it, though. Yeah, or if you are allowed to bring it in. Though.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So we will go to the second part of the presentation now, and then we will ask Hannu a few questions after he tells us more about the digital twin stage project he is involved with. And then we will go into the discussion. So if you think of questions for the panelists, please keep them in mind because there's going to be a discussion with all of you at the end of the presentation. So now, can you switch to the next slide? Thank you, Hannu. Next slide again, because we are playing the video. Yes, thank you. So now I'm pleased to give the mic to Hannu JÄRVENSIVU, who is a project manager of the virtual stage at the Finnish National Opera and Ballet. His team has developed a fully functional digital twin of the main stage and integrated XR tools directly into the design and pre-production workflow. drawing on his previous experience in entrepreneurship at Nokia. So the floor is yours. Can you tell us more about this project?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have to say that I'm a bit jealous to you guys because you are having agile and quick-moving things around you, because the National Opera as an art form is very traditional as of such. So whenever we do a production, it's a big train of some 200 people working on stage or off stage for creating the production, and the digitalization may not be the sort of a most visual or visible thing in the whole thing, but after all, it's there because the train is such a long train and there's plenty of things to decide. So with the digital tools, we actually define or reach a huge the benefits on the process before the audience see a traditional presentation on the stage. We started the work on the back in 2019 with the original targets of thinking about improving the lighting and improving the set quality as a definition of the customers' visibility on the stage and so forth. But quite quickly it came evident that our staff is very well forward-looking, and there was some 20 use cases quite quickly coming in. But so we have been forced to actually limit the cases. What shall we do first? And today we are in a position where we are actually creating the sequences of the productions, starting from the music and going to the cues from beginning to the end of the production. Of course, the results that we have gained are quite nice in that sense that earlier on we had lots of problems regarding the late changes of the sets or the workflow during the productions. Okay, now when we have a virtual production available before we even start manufacturing the physical one, our artistic team is actually working with that one to create the storyline from beginning to end. So when the sets are ready and the rehearsal time starts, they are just rehearsing what they already decided. They don't have to do any new decisions anymore. That's saving lots of nerves, let me tell you guys. Yeah. Another thing of the big thing that changed when we started to use the virtual stage is that when we were working with the traditional, mainly with the traditional scale models, we were actually giants looking to the black box with the miniature things. Now with the scale, with the virtual model actually, and especially if using glasses, you are in a physical space. You are in a space looking at the sets with one-to-one size. You can actually simulate everything that's going on around there and figure out that, okay, for example, does this chair fit here or should it be moved somewhere else so that everybody will see it, and so forth. Actually, that work, it happens way earlier than it has happened traditionally. And I hope that the audience see the better quality of the thing. And of course, when using a virtual tools, as you were talking about, things are available everywhere. We can also use internet and the artistic teams, which are typically quite remote from each other. They can actually access the virtual models remotely, work with them on their own, and basically they don't need to spend that one day coming up to Helsinki or another day to go back from on their own home cities. So this kind of a sort of invisible changes are happening sort of without even promoting them by ourselves. Currently we are using it, or we have been using it in the production use since 2023, and continuing the development on a sort of opportunistic way. So that what we do is that whenever we get the funding or get a new request that, hey, we need this kind of functionality, we set up a small project and continue then to working with it. The first production we did together with Malmö was the case Turandot. So it started at the very same time when the COVID lockdowns hit at the hardest through all Europe. So we had 2 stages, one artistic team somewhere, nobody was traveling anywhere, and basically nobody knew that how long it takes, so we had to actually figure out some way to visualize that what kind of storyline there will be. So an old school set designer made A3 size sketches with the key measures. We made the modeling out of them. Then we called up the teams meeting, and the artistic director of both houses were hammering down the ideas of the artistic team. This iteration took some 3-4 months, and basically this is the 5th iteration round from where you have the pictures here. So at the end of the day, when that work was done, basically we were able to do the production on a one shot to two very different kind of theaters. The more frequent case, which is sort of also nice to tell, it was the opera Ostrobotnias, where the set designer came with the humble request of, I would like to have 12 meters high potato field falling down together with the music in the sequence of 90 seconds. Knowing that our theater is something like 7 meters, or the sort of practical height of the theater is 7 meters, so 12 meters sounded quite bad. So we started to figure out that how shall we actually go for it, and you knew that, okay, we have a fire curtain and we can actually split the potato field into two. So this was what happened.
The video is not playing, or it is, okay.
Remember the 90 seconds? So what we did was that actually we offered 7 meters high potato field falling and the fire curtain going up at the same time, which created exactly the same illusion of the actually having a high potato field falling. The rest 5 meters were waiting there on the upstage for the event. If I would have actually told the set designer verbally that okay, that you get only 7 meters, it could have been quite a big quarrel. Okay, showing this, the director and the set designer looked at it for 2 times, and then they said, okay, this is fine, we can work with this one. Okay, instead of 5 tons, we actually just fall 2.5 tons now. So this kind of a decision making can change dramatically, and also the impact of the change decision is always coming through the money or saved investment then, or later on in the changes, so that you need fewer changes, as you can already visualize things here in the early phase, and also test them sort of that, okay, that do they work visually, do they work also functionally, that can we really operate them on the stage. That was my part. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hannu. So now I have a few questions for you. Because you've developed this project for the opera house and ballet in Finland, but you are using it for co-productions with other organizations. Are you trying to develop this as a product as well, and to distribute it for other theaters and opera houses? And also, second part of the question, do you know of other similar projects, or are you like a pioneer in this, in this field? And do you see opportunities to adapt this for other industries like music industry and so on?
The first part, it would be optimal to have plenty of theaters in, and we have teamed up with the Finnish AI company Unite.ai, so they are working for the project in different fields. The biggest benefits are coming especially in the co-productions, so that, for example, in our Malmö case, or now in ongoing case with the Royal Ballet and Opera in London, we can basically create such sets which are functioning on all the stages where the companies are working or presenting them. So that is sort of our wish list, is that as many houses as possible would be doing this. Okay, recognizing that every single house is different, so it's always a project of creating a virtual stage. and also requiring the new kind of skills for operating it on a daily basis. I have a team who is capable of both doing the technical engineering part plus then doing the virtual stage related works. But this kind of skills are not present in most of the theaters in Europe, or pretty much in all theaters in Europe. So it's something where the learning curve must be obtained, or good subcontractors would be needed for getting things done and getting things maintained, because if you don't have somebody who is keeping it up and doing the housekeeping, you just forget that you have the virtual stage.
So this leads me, thank you for your reply. This leads me to my second question, which is about change management within those institutions, because they are more, as you were saying in your introduction, those institutions are more classical institutions, so they are more reluctant to change, specifically when it comes to digital technology. So how did it work at the Opera and Ballet House? And then what do you need to do if you collaborate with other institutions in terms of co-productions to convince the teams there that it's really worth adopting this technology, and maybe also make a change within the teams so that they have the right tech teams to be able to adopt this technology?
Yeah. Helsinki is easy house in that sense that our staff is quite technically oriented, especially the technical teams. So I didn't recruit more than one new person for it. Okay, then of course we are following up very tight production process. Okay, we have a strict deadlines for doing things, so adding the tasks there, it was easy. Okay, getting the feedback and getting all the parties who are involved in the work or whose effort would be needed, that has been sort of a more in a sort of a, how should I say, in an imperative mode, in that sense that, okay, sometimes you have to remind the people that, hey, that you have to also take into account this part. Okay, on the other hand, I've been talking with the European theaters since 21 regarding this, and the first responses came that, okay, that, hey, I have 100 carpenters, I don't need your digital. But 2 years later, the very same technical director said that, Hannu, I was wrong. So the atmosphere is changing, the benefits are coming visible, and especially because the money is tight everywhere. And so even though theaters and operas are subsidized by governments, the subsidies are actually growing slower than the inflation is actually eating the value of the money. So basically the improved efficiency will be needed. So that is the reason that why the commitments are coming also from the theater management. But the rollout, it's for sure that it will take years. Of course, it will not take anything away from the existing skills, but it requires building some new skills for the theaters.
And were you able to measure internally the savings in terms of time and money that it brought to the productions of the different shows?
Well, of course, it all culminates to money. In our case, the savings if thinking about the set production or reduced need for rehearsal days on stage, these savings can be something like 70,000 to 100,000 per production. So talking about 5 to 10% saving, depending, of course, on the production type. So if you have full choir, full orchestra, some 5-6 expensive soloists, then the overall budget is bigger. But for the smaller production with challenging scenery, these percentages can be even bigger.
Thank you. So now, before opening the floor to questions, I have a question for all of you. How do you see the technology, the evolution of technology, over the past 3 years? Because things have changed so much over the past 3 years. The XR technology is becoming much more robust. Now we have AI. The latency has improved quite a lot, and also the knowledge of the teams. What biggest difference do you see now compared to 5 years ago? What is possible to do now in terms of live and XR that wasn't possible a few years ago? Could you maybe elaborate, each of you, a bit more on that, starting with Myriam?
So I'm definitely not a technical person, but I can appreciate the evolution that has happened in the last few years. And as I was saying earlier, Blur is a mixed reality experience. And this, you know, like going from VR to mixed reality and back, and this was not possible not so long ago. And it was very clear when we started to work on Blur that it would be a mixed reality project because we wanted to work with actors. So this is where I see the evolution, but I cannot comment really the technology because I'm not a technical person. I'll leave that to the experts.
Yes.
The expert says the same. It's, it's pretty much that. We did a project with the Berliner Ensemble a couple of years ago about Route Berlau, and there was no pass-through possible back in the, it was for, I think we used the Quest 1, so there was a pass-through, but it was like black and white and not very good, not very stable. And as it all was playing on the stage or behind the stage, and the people had to walk through different ways to different locations there. There was always an actress needed or an actor needed to take them by the hand and bring them there, so they didn't have to put on and off the headset all the time, which would have been not very immersive. So if there would have been a Quest 3 available with the pass-through mode that is available right now, we would have had a very different production, and it would have saved a lot of costs. So I'm happy for the actors who earned some money in that time. And yeah, that's probably something. And I see, like, I've just seen a lot of tourism applications where you see they are all using that, but on the Quest 3, and now waiting for the headsets that are available soon to be really to really use that on the streets, because nobody would run around with a Quest 3 on the streets in Berlin, though, right? So we see that this is really used and useful.
I think that the biggest change has been looking at technical perspective, has been the graphical processing power. Increase of that one has been huge, and the other area has been then the development of the SDK. So the software development tools have been getting better and better. So the features are coming more complete, and the bugs are getting fewer. Then the processing of the renderings and that kind of things are getting better. So it's easier to run these kind of things, easier to create these kind of things. Of course, you have to dig deeper to actually find all the features, but but basically, we can create much more complete things with the equipment we have today.
Thank you to all of you. Now we have 12 minutes remaining, so I will open the floor to questions, and I will ask Nikki. So we have one question there on the left and another one in the middle here. So thank you, Nikki.
First, thanks of all for this very, very informative panel. My question is to Hannu. So I'm actually stuck, or we are actually stuck at Max Planck Institute for Empirical Aesthetics in doing that what you done. So how did you solve real-time acoustics? Do you do real-time auralization of the room, proper one, or you are like just giving your best? And the second question is like, can you explain a bit more your tool, your software? So is it for live streaming? Is it for live performances? Or it's really like post-production tool?
Well, of course, we are doing our best, but we are using Unreal Engine as a baseline software on which we have so when looking at the analogies to the games, basically, the virtual stage area is a game area, and basically every single scene on the performance is a level. So we are using the Unreal as a sort of a local game for the players, and then sharing it through the Amazon Web Services so that the artistic team members can log into the game from remote positions also. Does this help, or did they answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
More or less. So you are using acoustic engine from the Unreal?
Yes.
And then the artists and their performance is from remote?
Yeah, the artistic team, so talking about set designer or choreographer or the stage director of the production, so they can log in and actually do the planning work from their own home office or from their local own office, so they don't have to drop up to the Helsinki.
Hello, my name is Alexander. I'm a producer from Hamburg, Germany, and my question is also to Hannu. I was wondering, since you just mentioned the director and the set designers and so on, how are corrections made during the rehearsal period? Is it possible to change some of the set design or something? Because I know from experience that during a rehearsal period, things change. Is it possible, or?
Of course, it's still possible, but we try to avoid it. so that's why we actually are engaging the artistic team to work together with us, so that once they have created their concept, we evaluate that it's physically doable. So there's all the things that they have been proposed are something that, okay, we can create in terms of physics or in the limits of the budget and the work time we have there. And once we have the final plan there, we don't actually just stop the conversation with the artistic team, but we go further with that one, so that they continue working with their concept and work with the sort of the full storyline with that one, so that once they're ready with their design, we are pretty much ready with the technical engineering part and start manufacturing. So there are much fewer need for changes anymore, because they have locked themselves into the design they already made and on which they already figured out the cue for the whole production.
Did the pre-production phase, did it extend?
We started, yeah. So basically, we started earlier typically. So already, in our production model, basically the content of the production should be frozen 1 year before the premiere. And from that on, the first 3 months are typically for design, next 3 months are typically for the manufacturing. So we start with the artistic team something like 2 years before the premiere, work out with their concept, and typically sadly kill plenty of their ideas because of they're not valid for the physical stage and so forth. But basically we continue that work until the stage rehearsals start, so that we get them locked into the plan they have created, so that there will not be this, I had this brilliant idea.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions? Yes, we have one question here at the front. Nikki.
I've got a design process question from Myriam. So as you're marrying theater and basically architectural space, now you've got throughput, you've got people moving through space. Are you using a sort of service design blueprint, or what is the tool that allows the design teams of different natures, from theater to VR, to work together? So you can actually see, okay, here's a touch point, there's an interactive content animation that's going to be happening when the physical space, a person is here, right? These sort of touch point analysis, is that something that the FI Center is doing, or is that just it's improv and theater and you're just doing trials and prototyping it, the experience, or how does it work?
So I'm not sure I'm the right person to answer that question, because I was not involved in the creative process. Yeah. So I can put you in touch with my colleagues.
Okay.
Do we have any more questions in the room? Because otherwise I've got questions, but I prefer to leave first the opportunity for you to ask some questions. Yes, one there. Can you speak close to the microphone, please?
I will try. For the FI team as well. From a user experience perspective, we're trying to also do something with like mixed reality theater at our University of Applied Sciences, and a big interest for me personally is user experience. Do you get any like specific feedback from the users? Because we're quite used to people just saying it was an awesome experience, but of course that only tells half of the story. So is there anything in that regard that you can share?
So, you know, as I said earlier, we presented the piece in, I think until now, in 4 different cities. And yes, the first comments are the wow effect, for sure. And most of the comments came, and I'm sure the people that have seen it will hopefully agree with me, is that like going from VR to pass-through is so seamless that sometimes even people were wondering, like, am I in VR right now? Am I in pass-through? I don't know. So this, like, there was no. Sometimes if you do an experience and you go from VR to pass-through, it can be really like clock. In Blur, it's not. And this is really where we had a lot of great feedback. It was really seamless. I can talk to you about other comments later if you'd like, but this is really like the main comment that came back quite a lot.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? Okay, I've got one for you, Sönke and Myriam, because once you start producing, you start adding a live element to an XR project. I guess the production time and the creation time, you add a lot more time to the calendar, or not so much. My question is about that. What is the difference compared to a classical XR project, because there are some rehearsals, you have actors involved, and what is the difference? What does this live element brings in terms of difference?
For us, it didn't really change. The length was not, like we produced a piece a couple of years ago called The Infinite that we did in approximately 2 years. Blur was from day one till delivery in March, it was done in a bit more than a year and a half. I think the fact that we had many workshops in different cities and where we all came together facilitated the fact that it was not too long. So the fact, to have live actress, I should say, in our case, didn't add to the, the length of the production.
And 1 year and a half, and does this take into account also finding the money, gathering the co-producers? Yeah, so it's
it was quite quick. I should say maybe 20 months maybe, but it was really for all the producers around the table, like a very important project. We wanted to deliver as soon as possible because, as you all know, technology evolves quick, and you start, like if you take 5 years, then what you had in mind 4 years before, it's not relevant anymore. So we had funding from Quebec, from Canada, from Taiwan, from Greece, and this came really quite quick. So we worked. We were waiting for the funding application to come through, but we were working already.
What about you, Sönke?
Yeah, and our project is perhaps a little bit different because it's ongoing, kind of, right? Of course, there's rehearsals, but there's rehearsals all the time. And the other way around, we have the opportunity to collect the feedback from users and implement it for the next show. So it's an ongoing production, you can say, but it's something that improves the project, kind of. And well, it's pretty hard to say in this setup how much more time it would have already needed with the rehearsals and so on. The project we just mentioned in the beginning, the true film that we premiered this year, took us 7 years. So, well, yeah. So there was no live actors like that.
Yeah, okay, so it's very different from project to project.
Yeah.
So we're getting to the end of the panel. Can you switch to the next slide? This is just the thank you slide. But thank you all for listening and attending this panel. And if you have more questions, let's just discuss later in the day. Thank you. Big applause to the panelists.
Thank you.